What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything you need to know about on a daily basis, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. And happy Easter Day weekend. Hope you're celebrating it here and having a fabulous Easter Day weekend with our YouTube family here and maybe with your family here as well. So happy Easter weekend here early. And also thanks so much for joining us here. Thanks for hitting the like button for us. You guys are amazing. We got a lot to talk about here. Let's jump right in. Multiple different things here for you today. Also, we have some new stimulus checks that were just passed in a state here that we're going to have some details on in this video. $600 here that we'll be going over in this video. So make sure to watch all the way to the end. We got a lot of details for a lot of different things in this video. As you can see here, stimulus update, 2.1 million Texas school children will qualify for the fourth round of pandemic EBT food benefits. That's right, 2.1 million Texas school children as alone. Of course, it's not only Texas. But of course, this is the article here. Here are the details. I'll go over the other states here in a moment. But remember, these are stimulus benefits. These are only here because of the pandemic. And remember, these were just extended here by President Biden. They were going to expire on April 15th, and they have been extended for another 90 days here, the public health emergency. You could see here, Governor Greg Abbott on April 12th announced that Texas and the Health and Human Services Commission received approval from the USDA for a fourth round of pandemic EBT benefits for school children, 2.1 million children for the state of Texas. Pandemic EBT benefits are for Texas families, other states here as well, which I'll go over, with children in kindergarten through grade 12 through the National School Lunch Program, NSLP, who temporarily lost access to free or reduced price school meals due to pandemic-related absences, virtual attendance, or closures. The governor says, quote, "Thank you to HHSC and TEA for working with the USDA." That's a that's a lot of different acronyms there to secure these food benefits for Texas families. The PEBT program has strengthened our efforts over the past 2 years to ensure families and children across the state have access to nutritious meals. The HHSC will provide more than $626 million in benefits to 2.1 million eligible children in Texas for the 2021-2022 school year so far. So far, approximately $6.1 billion in pandemic food benefits have been delivered to Texas family. This is money that goes out directly to the families, and then they can use this money. So yeah, here are the list of states and territory that have been approved to operate pandemic EBT for the 2021-2022 school year. This is directly from the government. American Samoa, it's a U.S. territory, Colorado, Delaware, Florida, Indiana, Kentucky, Maine, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Carolina, Ohio, Puerto Rico, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. Okay. There has been more states being added here onto the list here as I've been updating you guys. This is for pandemic EBT benefits. I will keep you up to date here as more come on here. This provides, as you've seen here, $6.1 billion of stimulus money to um, school children families. Next up, we got SNAP benefits for the month of April. More states have been added here as well. So many that I'm going to have to zoom out here a little bit. So more have been added here for the month of April. And right now we have a lot here. The current list for April for extra SNAP benefits on top of normal SNAP benefits. The current list here is Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, DC, Georgia, Guam, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oregon, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, the Virgin Islands, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Okay, they just extended this for 3 more months. This was set to expire on April 15th because the pandemic health emergency was going to expire on April 15th. Okay. And they extended that along with Medicaid benefits as well. So, because they extended the pandemic health emergency, these extra benefits can continue for at least 3 more months. Any states that are not participating can now rejoin if they wish to, and they wish to, pitch in for the money. Okay, governors that tend to be a little stingy can also participate in this as well. As you can see here, there's a lot of states and territories in here, and the list is growing. We're halfway through April, and it's filling up my screen so much I had to zoom out to make the text smaller. So I'll keep you up to date here. But there's tens of millions of people getting this. These are stimulus benefits, both of these. This extra SNAP money would not be going out if the pandemic were not here. This is strictly stimulus benefits. If the pandemic was not here, this extra money would not exist. Okay, so yeah, let's hope this continues to go on here for a long time. As you can see here, the Biden administration announces new oil and gas lease sales and a royalty hike, which could help lower the price of gas here in the future, potentially, and help bring more supply to the market, more oil onto the market. Remember, this does not happen instantly. If you've been watching my channel, I've kind of let you guys know that. This is something that takes time. This is something that takes time. But nonetheless, you can see the headline here. So this is something that could, in the future, bring the price of oil and gas down here. Not a lot, not something crazy, but nonetheless, this is the news here. Here's the details. The Interior Department is selling additional oil and gas leases, but with some changes now. And a former EPA boss from the Trump administration, Scott Pruitt, is now running for U.S. Senate. The Interior Department on Friday announced another round of oil and gas lease sales on public lands, as well as increases in royalty rates to help make them more attractive. In the announcement, the department said the Interior Department will issue final sales notices for upcoming sales Monday. They also announced a royalty hike, increasing rates from 12.5 to 18.75%. That's exactly a 50% increase on royalties, which is actually a lot. The administration said they would incorporate 173 land parcels on 144,000 acres of new land that would go up for sale here going forward. And there's some kind of drama about this where A former Trump appointee blocked the use of a metric in February, but then a appeals court overturned the ruling in March. And there's kind of been some back and forth fighting here about this actually happening. It's gone back and forth through several different judges, but nonetheless, this is going to go through here now, finally. A spokesperson called it good news, and that the interior are listening to Westerners, and working in the best interest of taxpayers. And quote, by limiting the upcoming sale to areas with existing oil and gas infrastructure, Interior will prevent speculators from locking up public lands with little or no potential for future production. And raising the royalty rate will ensure taxpayers will get a fair share from oil produced on these parcels, which sounds pretty good. Of course, some people for climate change are negative about it, saying that drilling for more oil is a negative and we shouldn't be doing these things. My personal thoughts, I'm kind of split down the middle. I think that we do need to drill for more oil because drilling for oil is a now thing. But I do also think that in the future, we need to be not as reliant on oil because we see the problems with Putin and oil. And going forward, it is good to be a little bit more renewable energy is kind of the future, and the more that we can have, the better. In fact, here is a very interesting story from actually the same article. Check this out. Wind power has overtaken coal and nuclear power for the first time. Wind power was the number 2 source of power generation in the US for the first time ever on March 29th, surpassing coal and nuclear power. And remember, we've been relying on coal for like ever. It's just an old, dirty power. And now wind power has surpassed that. Who would have ever thought that, right? And this is literally from the U.S. Energy Information Administration. They said here this week on Thursday. Wind turbines in the continental U.S. produced 2,117 gigawatt hours of electricity on the 29th, according to data from the EIA. While there have been days in the past when wind generation separately outpaced coal and nuclear generation, the 29th marked the first day that it surpassed both power sources. Natural gas remains the top source of power generation on March 29th, comprising 31% of power generation, followed by wind, nuclear, and coal. The milestone comes a little more than 2 years after nationwide wind capacity outstripped nuclear capacity in September 2019. This did not immediately result in higher wind power output than nuclear because wind generators are designed to run at lower capacity than nuclear generators. But wind power generators often hits an annual high in the spring when wind speeds tend to peak at electricity demand is usually at one of its lowest points, which prompts coal and nuclear generators to reduce output. Overall, though, wind typically produces the least amount of electricity per month of any major source, and the EIA does not project that it will surpass coal or nuclear for a full month at any point during this year or in 2023. But the thing about wind turbines and like solar and renewable energy is, for the most part, you build it like a wind turbine or solar, and for the most part, it's there for a long time, many years, right? The problem with coal is you got to constantly be digging, or oil, natural gas, anything like that. You got to constantly be getting it out of the ground over and over and over and over, right? I mean, literally, coal, you get it out of the ground, you burn it, it's gone that day. I mean, think about that. And I mean, look at all the problems we're having with Russia. I mean, they control all this oil, and look at what happened to the price of gas here in the United States because of the war. So the less reliant we are on stuff like that going forward, the better, right? So look at how much wind power we're getting. And just think, if we keep building stuff like that, we keep building stuff like solar just to help supplement our power grid. And of course, we're going to have to keep, building and making things better. Our power grid's going to have to be able to withstand it. But if you think about stuff like solar and stuff like wind power, when the sun shines and the wind goes, and it just helps. It helps because all these things work in combination of each other. Then when the wind stops, you have all these other things. When the sun stops, you have all these things, other things. When you have a problem with oil, like Russia, you have all these other things. You have all these things working in combination of each other. So when you have a problem with one, you're not so reliant on the other things. And that's what we're having right now. We're having a problem with oil and gas. And look at what we're dealing with, right? It's insane. So that's what I personally think going forward is we shouldn't be so reliant on one specific item. And look at how good we're doing with wind power right now. And we know that solar power has really leaps and bounds better than it was years. In fact, we look back a couple decades ago, it didn't even exist. Didn't even exist. And you look at places like in Hawaii, solar power, and even like places like maybe California, Arizona. I mean, solar power is amazing, right? Not so much in Ohio, right? Wintertime here is just a nightmare. But these are kind of things we need going forward because in the next 20, 30 years, um, that's kind of the future. At some point, things like coal and oil are going to run out. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but we don't want to be dealing with countries like Russian oil forever, right? It's just a nightmare. Also, the state of Delaware is going to be having a $300 tax rebate or check coming here next month as inflation relief here. Delawareans. Yeah, so check this out here if you're a Delawarean. Rebates of $300 a piece will be going out to more than 620,000 Delaware taxpayers next month under inflation relief plan that has now cleared the General Assembly on Thursday. Yeah, $300 a piece to 620,000 Delawareans. That's such a cool word, right? The rebates which lawmakers approved after first weighing whether to institute a gas tax holiday, will be in the form of actual checks mailed to people who filed a tax return in 2021 for the previous year earnings. Actual checks are always the best thing, guys. That's what I've always said. So these will be actual checks, as you can see right here, mailed to people who filed a tax return in 2021. The cost is $186 million to the state, which currently has a surplus of around $1 billion for the fiscal year that ends June 30th. So really, the state of Delaware could possibly do this again here later this year, or maybe again here next year. So, like I said, a lot of these states could do this more than once. Could do this more than once. In addition to the rebate for taxpayers, the state will also send $300 checks to some 168,000 adult residents who did not file a return last year. The state hopes to identify those recipients through public records such as driver's license. That's very interesting. I don't know how they're going to do that, but they're going to do it. So if you're from Delaware, you might want to look into that. As always, it's better to file a tax return. look into somebody who you might know your tax situation. You can always file a tax return and say you made $20 or $10 selling an item at a garage sale or something like that. Checks for those recipients will go out after July 1st once lawmakers appropriate the $50 million cost in the state budget that is usually approved at the end of June. The state has detailed timeline of when checks will be mailed and the other details at de.gov/rebate. de.gov/rebate. Senate President Dave Socorro said the one-time payment with no strings attached has a simple and direct goal: put some money back into the people's pockets. So it looks like $300 a person, which would be $600 for married couples. He said the money will go to help people pay for gas, food, going out for meals, home or car repairs, or any other expense that they choose. He said before Thursday's final vote, and it looks like it's now approved. There's all sorts of things that they could use the money for. We're not going to tell them what they could use it for. The House approved the check rebate last week, a vote of 35-3 with 3 members absent. And on Thursday, the Senate approved it unanimously. Carney signed the bill just minutes after the Senate passed it. Wow, so congratulations to the most recent state of Delaware here. I believe it's $300 per person, so married couple could get $600. So let me know your thoughts. I'll keep you up to date here on all the different states. Literally seems like state after state after state, they're all catching on. It seems like none of them want to not pass a stimulus check at this point, because their governors are up for reelection, their senators are up for reelection, their House representatives are up for reelection, and they all have billions of dollars. I'll keep you up to date here with all the states as well as the federal stimulus checks, which they're considering here as well. So make sure to subscribe down below. New videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribing to our YouTube channel is completely free to do so. You literally just click the subscribe button and then click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button after subscribing. I'll keep you up to date with everything as well as everything going on here in our country. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And here is a video I did with a lot of other states that are considering or passing stimulus checks as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.